People need plants. Our very lives depend on the food, the oxygen, building materials, medicines, and other products that come from plants. As civilizations evolved and human exploration expanded across the globe, so did the search for useful, valuable, and beautiful plants. In the colonial era, every wealthy king and queen sponsored a tall sailing ship whose botanists and plant explorers were tasked with documenting, sampling, and collecting the world's botanical riches. Many of today's garden plants descended from those wild collected ancestors. And while the tall ships are long gone, we still have plant explorers. Today, you can't go to a foreign country and bring plants back from the wild. In fact, you can't bring home wild plants from anywhere. That makes the job of a plant explorer to document and protect wild plants even more important. Meet Kelly Griffin. He's a modern-day plant explorer with a passion for searching out aloes, agaves, and other succulents.
When I see my plants in people's gardens, it gives me a great sense of joy. They don't need to know that I am responsible for it being there. The fact that it's there is kind of cool. You've had your Johnny Appleseed moment where you've been able to put a succulent plant into their garden and they get to enjoy it.
Kelly travels the world searching out plants in the wild. The knowledge he's gained and his skill in finding uncommon species, then using their genetics to breed new plants, expands our landscape palette. We're going to see a modern-day plant explorer in action. We're going to see what he does in the field and how that translates to what we can grow in our gardens. Today, on A Growing Passion. A lot more houses up here than I remember from the last time I was here.
Yeah, unfortunately that's what we do. We put houses where plants like to grow.
Yep, they like the flat parts and so do we. Succulent plants grow primarily in dry, arid climates, including here in San Diego. Few people know more about where to look and how to identify them than Kelly Griffin. One quality of a successful plant explorer is a deep understanding of how plants grow. Kelly has spent years observing plants in the wild, noting their differences and their nuances, and understanding how they respond under different conditions. How do you know to come here?
You know, that's a very good question. I think the best answer there is you hike everywhere you can, and open space is becoming less and less. I knew the plants I was looking for. I knew the substrate I thought I'd find them in.
Mm-hmm. And this was it?
Yeah.
Today, we're on the hunt for Dudleyas, a group of succulents that are native to California and Baja California, including the islands off the coast. One tiny and uncommon species is limited to areas with iron nodules in the soil. In San Diego County, there are just 4 places where that substrate exists. Kelly, that little Dudleya is everywhere in here.
Yeah, Dudleya blockmani, subspecies brevifolia, and there are a lot of them.
That's easy for you to say. What's great is that they're really well camouflaged.
Yeah.
It really does say something about survival, you know.
Hiding in plain sight by being little and looking like the ground.
Yeah, sure. Trying to stay on the top so I don't step on anything.
Yeah, when you know they're here, you want to be very careful with them. Look at that one. That's a really big one right there, in the full sun.
And it looks like a little colony right there.
Yeah. What happens is those are actually the flower shoots. When it breaks from being a rosette, it starts sending up these little heavily bract flower shoots. Mm-hmm. And then the flowers will come out of that. And by the time it blooms, there's nothing left, just the bloom.
Just the bloom.
Yeah. And then as it dries, the wind will knock it maybe 6 to 8 inches away, and it sows some more seeds.
And so there's little baby ones all around here too.
Yeah, there's one right there. Yeah. There's another one there. There's another one there.
These iron nodules, they look like rabbit poop, but clearly they're not.
That one's quite identifiable.
Yeah, right. So that one's a little bit different. If you were collecting these, which I know you're not, would you go for one that's a little bit different color?
Well, I'd wait till they flower and probably gather the pollen, maybe for small size, compactness, shoot off of that.
So you'd choose the pollen for that, not the seeds?
Right. I'm sure there's a degree of variation, but when you have to use your magnifying glass to see the variation, not quite as relevant.
Not every specimen is a candidate for collection. Sometimes he simply documents what he sees, so wild plants are not replaced by office buildings, homes, schools, or strip malls. These look like tire ruts.
Yeah, off-road vehicle.
They can cause some damage, huh?
Yeah, and it stays around for a long time. I mean, if they come up here when it's muddy and they do this, the ground is ruined and the plants aren't recruiting in those areas. This was probably from 3 years ago.
If not longer.
Yeah. So it's good that you stop that from happening, because
Here we go.
look what you run over if you don't.
Yeah, those
It's our
are
native
gorgeous.
Pherocactus viridescens.
Look at this. The spines look like little fingernails.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of have that texture
Good
too.
protection, but not quite enough for a tire.
So this is another dahlia, right?
Dahlia lanceolata.
So that's because of the long leaves, it's lanceolate.
Lanceolate leaf, yeah.
I see these are 2 flower stalks developing, right?
Uh-huh.
And these are the old ones.
In another couple of months, they should be up to about here and blooming.
And these are the old seeds.
That's last year's flowers and seed.
So are there seeds in here?
Let's see. I'm pretty confident there'll be some. Oh yeah,
Oh, look at that.
there's a seed.
They're just like little dust. How many do you think you got?
Oh God, easy 75 or 100 there probably.
So if you were to take those home and start them, you would have enough for the rest of your life.
How many Dahlia lanceolata do you need? Probably I could take 10 seed and have plenty of plants. But these are gonna stay right here.
More and more native plants are being used in gardens. Barrel cactus and dahlia are becoming very popular. Here's something that might surprise you. We've seen lots of different kinds of succulents. This is a succulent coreopsis, and the part that's succulent is the leaf. See how fleshy it is? This is another dahlia, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is this?
This is Dahlia edulis, and edulis means edible.
Oh yes, so somebody was willing to eat this, huh?
The edible one, yeah. The lore goes that you'd use it for moisture if you really were struggling.
How come the blades are a little bit purple? I'm usually used to seeing them all green.
Some of the plants, when given a lot of sunlight, will stress with a little bit of a blush of pink or red.
It's kind of pretty. So this grows all over San Diego, right?
Right, it grows all over San Diego County and beyond. You see it in Baja a little bit in the north and into Orange County.
This is adaptable to gardens?
Quite adaptable. It's an easy plant to grow. It grows easily from cuttings. It's in the nursery trade.
So this is a good example of a plant that was found in the wild, made its way into the trade, and is now really widely used, but it's still pretty prevalent in our wild areas.
Right.
It would be great if our gardens were planted entirely in natives, but finding natives adaptable to home garden growing conditions is not as easy as you think. Kelly's drive to explore, to observe, and to tinker with genetics allows him to bridge the world of conservation with the world of horticulture. For decades, Kelly has traveled the world in search of interesting new plants. He studies them and photographs them. Sometimes he collects small amounts of seeds or pollen to use in his breeding programs. His passion makes for one of my favorite gardens. It's amazing. There's just so much to look at. I don't even know what to focus on first.
That's not bad.
Okay, so which aloe is this?
That's aloe striata, and it's a variegated form of it.
Oh my
it's
God. I have
kind of a
dreams.
striated striata.
I have dreams about this.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is that we're making more of those, so that's the good thing.
It's beautiful, and look
And that's
at this.
agave guiangola from Sierra Guiangola in Oaxaca.
But the teeth are so black. I have an agave guiangola, but it doesn't have those black teeth.
This particular one's called motosierra, which means chainsaw in Spanish. And it's pretty much full size for what it would reach in the wild.
Wow.
But in cultivation, they'll get about twice that size across.
And what are those?
The flat aeoniums.
Oh.
Aren't that something?
Yeah, those are awesome.
Aeonium tabliforme from the Canary Islands.
They're beautiful. They're so flat, and they look like fish scales.
It's a very unique aeonium in that it stays flat like that, close to the ground.
I see
and
that.
then a place where there was once another one, it bloomed and left behind all its seed, and the proof of they really are happy where they are is all the babies coming up.
Kelly's garden is more than just a collection of plants. He places each plant where it has the ideal combination of light, water, soil, and airflow. He highlights and celebrates the features that make each plant special. Kelly, when I look at the garden, I see all the beautiful plants and all the beautiful color. What do you see?
Besides a lot of work, I see great potential. I mean, most of the things that are here have some compelling reason for being here, and it's not just the end result that they are right now. It's what I might be able to make out of them.
So they're your genetic reservoir, basically.
My paints on a painter's palette.
The garden is both Kelly's playground and his laboratory. Breeding combines the genetics of 2 or more plants to create a new plant with characteristics from each parent. Each of these aloes is a hybrid grown from seed. Kelly made every cross by carefully selecting and cross-pollinating plants from his collection in his kitchen. He waits for the flowers to make seeds, then grows the seeds to mature plants. You've created all these?
Yep, every last one of them.
And now what are you trying to do?
Well, you know, there's the permutations and combinations taken one at a time. There's a zillion different characteristics that you can combine and recombine. And the reality is that most of the babies, most of the progeny comes out to be not so good. But it's the 1 or 2
Wait, what do you mean by not so good?
Well, you might make 150 plants from one set of seed, and 1 or 2 of them might be something that you'll continue with.
And the others are just, they're not pretty enough, they're not big enough, they're not vigorous enough, they're not something.
Probably 1 in 150 that I will continue to work in, and probably 1 in 1,000 that I would be happy with and say this is a finished product. This one has more flowers that are kind of spaced out and a little smaller inflorescence. These floppy inflorescences I don't like as much. So in some instances you're trying to shorten the flower stem length. You can see how much more stout this flower is than this. This is a little lot more ideal in terms of it's not going to flop over and it's just going to look better.
So is this like all your, what drives you, or is there someone somewhere saying, you know, we'd like this one to be stouter with this kind of a flower?
With a lot of it, it's a little bit of a creativity thing. You're trying to come up with something new and different, and you don't know what's going to stick to the wall. You don't know what plant people are really going to go, that's the one I really like. And the reality is that they like lots of different.
Today we're crossing aloes. Kelly likes one for its flower color and another for its toothed blades.
But what I do is I would take the pollen, which you can see here, it's now on my fingertip.
A little bit of orange dust.
Yeah. And then this anther has, this stigma has been cleaned of the anthers and the perianth of the flower, you know, cut away. And so I can just put the pollen right onto the stigma.
After you pollinate here and then you wait, if it worked,
if I'm successful, then you get the seed pod. And after 2 to 4 weeks or maybe more of ripening, I collect the seed. And then I dry the seed off for another month or so, and then I sow it. And then you see what you get.
Most people's outdoor table is for eating dinner. Yours?
Mine is for making plants. These are the ones that I'm currently working on, and they've progressed past the point where I was making seed. They're now in the ripening of seed. And once they finish ripening, then they're put in an envelope and then to be sown later this year.
Oh, so there's seeds in that one.
That's the idea.
Kelly has bred and introduced 300 to 400 varieties of aloes, agave, dudleya, and echeveria to the market. He's played a major role in making succulent plants popular garden plants.
It's a great place for me to come out and see them and kind of remind myself of what I've made and what I've gone and seen and brought home. There are some really unique plants like the agave alba pilosa with these little tufts that just perfectly suited. They're a cliff dweller, they hang on a cliff, so what better thing than a wall hanging pot for them.
Kelly's expertise is unique even among plant explorers and breeders. So it's no wonder he's been recruited by one of the largest cacti and succulent growers in the U.S., if not the world. Altman Plants has helped make North San Diego County an epicenter for all things succulent. And Kelly Griffin is a major driving force behind Altman's incredible selections. As Altman's succulent plant development manager, Kelly's charge is to create new varieties that are beautiful, interesting, and grow well under garden conditions. Here at the growing grounds, Kelly's literally planted a world of plants and possibilities. Oh my gosh, Kelly, this looks like it's your playground.
It is. It's a fun playground that different things blooming all the time. This is our resource for the future. Some of them are being grown for replicating the species, and some of them are being used to make more of what we have. If you have 300 or 400 of them to play with, you can make some pretty interesting things. The whole world pretty much represented here. The ones in our foreground here are from Ethiopia, and those are from Mexico, and that's from Oaxaca, and that one's created by man, so there's a little mix of everything, but we've got South Africa represented, we've got Madagascar represented.
These are all places you've gone and brought back seed, yes?
Yeah. This is all, everything here has been seed grown.
But that's interesting, you basically got all the world's, hot climates represented right here.
Yeah.
These plants and their colors, their sizes, their shapes, the way they grow, are Kelly's creative palette. He carefully crosses and recrosses plants to create the combinations of his dreams. What is this one?
This is agave avatifolia
So this
from
is
Mexico.
a species.
It's a species.
From Mexico. And these are all different agaves.
Mm-hmm.
So explain how you perceive these. When you're going to breed, what are you thinking about? What are you looking at?
Well, this is a species, but it's a really nice representative form of the species. This is a hybrid that was made by combining two species. I would point out, too, these are all seed grown. None of them were collected from the wild. And the hybrid, I think, is a refinement of some of the characteristics you find in the species. Doesn't necessarily mean they're more beautiful, they're just different, and it allows you more selection.
So this is bluegill, right?
This is bluegill.
I can get this in the nursery.
Absolutely.
Breeding and new introductions are a grower's competitive advantage. So the work Kelly and his colleagues do is top secret until Altman's introduces their plants to the world. One of the litters, huh?
This is the future of what we're doing with agaves and this nice garden size. It's going to be fairly compact and small garden pot plant.
It's beautiful. There's a lot to look forward to. If this is the kind of thing you're doing.
It's just some of the stuff we're doing, so it's fun to put something new out there that hasn't been available before.
I'd put this in my garden in an instant. These plants represent decades of Kelly's work, making crosses and growing out millions of seeds in search of just a few plants with the greatest market potential.
So this is the seed house, Nan. This is where the babies begin.
So what am I looking at?
You're looking at the first stage of the cactus. These are the little tiny baby cactus.
Oh, those are cacti? They're barely bigger than pinheads. There's thousands of them.
They'll eventually be in your garden somewhere, hopefully, but this is where they start.
While this greenhouse is home to the popular varieties that are Altman's bread and butter, one small section is dedicated to Kelly's experimental crosses.
Both aloes and agaves, when they start out, they don't look like much. It's hard to tell that this is going to develop into something, but as they mature, they start getting the more mature colors, and you start seeing the teeth and the things that they're destined to become.
There's so much to look at. This is like eye candy. There's a million little plants in here. Each of these are from the same seed pod, and yet, look, this one's big, these are tiny, some are red, some are blue, some are green. That's a lot of genetic variation.
Yeah, and that's what we're keen for, because you can select the traits you want in the final product. I mean, if they're all kind of the same, then your differentiation is very small. But in this particular case, if we want small, we have it. If we want large, we have it.
These tables display hundreds of Kelly's crosses. Each is a unique plant, a variation on a theme. Yet only 1 in 1,000 will make it to the nursery trade. How do you know what to choose?
Fortunately, it's not just my decision, so it'll be a committee, but I kind of know what's cool at this point.
Well, you can definitely influence the committee, right?
Right.
Creating a hot new variety is a numbers game. It's here where the science and the market meet. Some of Kelly's selections are about to undergo their final evaluation. All of these little aloes right here came from the same seed pod?
Yep, they're that complex. There's that many parents in them that they have that degree of variability. But that's what gives us the ability to pick out the ones that we really like. You know, the bright red color or the one with a big yellow teeth.
They're all siblings, but they look completely different.
Yeah, just like people. But there's another consideration too. There's the flower aspect. So you'll have to grow them out long enough to see if they have a nice flower, because sometimes a plant that maybe isn't quite as showy, that has a nice flower and is ready to bloom for you willingly, that's sometimes enough to make it worthwhile.
So the next time you might cross these two, yes?
Yeah.
To create one that looks like this but flowers like this.
Exactly.
The variations that come from crossing plants is almost limitless. Once they choose those destined for the nursery bench, Altman's needs to make thousands of identical plants, which they do using tissue culture techniques. Lee Shaley is the tissue culture general manager.
We've got 26 technicians here that will produce 5 million plants this year.
It looks like they're cutting aloes, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. 2 different varieties here. One of these varieties, orange popsicle, Kelly bread, is really known for its flower. The other, crimson dragon, is more of an ornamental red-colored aloe.
Unlike with animal cells, any plant cell can be grown up to make a whole new and identical plant. That's what happens with tissue culture. Mother plants are separated into tiny pieces. All the pieces are placed in containers of nutrient-rich agar, which is a growing medium. There, every piece sets root and eventually grows into a clone of its parent.
Flavia will cut this plant all week.
And how many will she make in a week?
She'll easily root 6,000 plants this week.
In 1 week?
In 1 week, a little over 1,000 a day.
This is challenging work. It takes focus, patience, excellent eyesight, and a deft hand. The speed at which these ladies work is amazing. Is that one of the advantages of tissue culture?
They are amazingly quick, and yes, that is definitely an advantage, the speed at which we could propagate a plant.
And what are the other reasons you do tissue culture?
Well, when Kelly brings me or submits a single plant to me, he's only got one. So once we get it in tissue culture, we can multiply it in a couple of years and get thousands or even potentially millions of plants.
The developing plants stay in climate-controlled rooms to optimize growing conditions. Within weeks, these tiny plants will be mature enough to transplant to pots of soil and finish growing in the greenhouse. It's not an inexpensive way to go. Why tissue culture instead of, more traditional?
It's a great question. Essentially, every time you tissue culture a plant, it would be because you can't manually propagate it otherwise via traditional methods.
And are these any weaker than plants that would come from seed or cutting or anything like that?
To the contrary, I think that they're as good as any other plant. Whatever you put in is what you get out if you've done it correctly.
With production underway, the Plant Explorer's work is complete. From nature to the test gardens, to the nursery to a finished cultivar, Kelly Griffin's hybrids make the world of horticulture richer, more interesting, and more available to every gardener. Yet, at his root, Kelly is a fervent conservationist whose work helps reduce destructive pressures on plants in the wild.
You can just pull out the seed and you can...
Wow, look how fuzzy that is.
That's what differentiates an echinocactus from a ferocactus. It has the wool on the fruit, but watch
wait,
this.
This is the fruit, right?
That's the fruit.
This is the fruit. That is so cool.
But here's the reveal. Look at all the babies.
Oh, those are all seeds.
Individual seeds.
How many seeds are there?
I don't know, can you count? A lot.
So you can grow these, right?
Oh yeah. This is what our source is for growing more of the beautiful golden barrels.
So there's no reason to go into the wild and collect more?
Absolutely no reason for this plant to be collected from the wild.
I love the shapes and the colors and the contrast.
And the light.
And the light. It takes a skilled and passionate plantsman like Kelly Griffin to travel the corners of the world in search of new succulents. It's art and science, commerce and conservation. That's the job of a plant explorer. I'm Nan Sterman. See you next time on A Growing Passion.